Limbus company has a problem right now. There are not enough game modes in the game. For a game that is 2.5 years old, we only have two replayable content, those being Mirror Dungeon and Refraction Railway. I mean, I guess you can count Luxcavation as a replayable content if we're scraping the bottom of the barrel, and a new Refraction Railway only comes around every half a year, so I don't know if we can really count that. Point is, Mirror Dungeon is the only content that is meant to be repeatedly played over and over again, and you can only do one thing before you eventually get bored of doing it. So this is going to be a video about alternate game modes that Project Moon can implement into Limbus Company. The first one I would recommend would be a PvP mode, where two teams of IDs would auto-battle with each other. We already have the Princess Maker event showcasing auto-battling with the Ji-chun, so they could probably reuse the code from there in this new game mode. They could give out rewards based on how well you placed in a global ranking at the end of a season, which could be every couple of months. They wouldn't have to go crazy with the rewards, it could just be some extra EXP tickets or maybe some thread. The second game mode I would recommend would be something like Joint Firing Drill from Blue Archive. For those who don't know, JFD is a game mode where you'll have to complete a certain objective within a period of time, such as defeating enemies, while at the same time also dealing with the gimmicks within the same encounters. You also have to make 3 unique teams to clear the content with, but that's not related to anything I'm gonna talk about now. If you guys remember the levels in the LCB checkup event, it's something similar to that, but the gimmick doesn't have to be a debuff to your sinners. It could also be a buff that nudges you into playing a certain team, such as a buff saying burn does double the damage, or a Sinner's Wrath skills do more damage. The enemies can also change for each rotation of this game mode. We could get Pekatulas for one rotation, and then an Abnormality for the next one. They can pick out enemies to complement the buffs or debuffs of the encounter as well. They could also give out rewards for how many turns you cleared it in. Maybe if you use weaker IDs, they can give you more rewards to incentivize their use. The final game mode I want to recommend would be one where you can refight bosses, but the power of those bosses grows the more times you fight them. Imagine a mode where you can fight Dongbek over and over again for rewards, but the more times you do it, the harder the fight becomes, such as her being able to spawn in more flowers in her phase 2, or she could even start in phase 2 at the beginning of the fight. Maybe they could even switch her resistances around to promote the use of different IDs for different rotations of the game mode, such as her maybe being Wrath Week in one week and Gloom Week in the other week. They could even switch up some of her sin affinities in her skills, such as maybe turning a Sloth skill into a Wrath skill to further incentivize using different IDs for different resistances. These game modes shouldn't be that hard to maintain a 1 or 2 week rotation on, or monthly rotation for the PvP mode. Mirror Dungeons being the only true replayable game content right now is not enough content for Limbus Company. Project Moon should have the manpower to implement at least one of these game modes into the game for us to play, and I hope they do because this could breathe new life for the team building and mechanics of the game. And I'm sure the min-maxers would love any of these modes. But what do you think? Do you have any other game modes you would like to see in the game? Leave a comment down below and remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you find Akani to enjoy and have a wonderful rest of your day.